I'm Anthony Elmore, President and Founder of the Proud Black Buddhist World Association. We at the Proud Black Buddhist World Association practice the Buddhist teachings as taught by the 13th century Japanese Buddhist sage Nichiren Shonin. The word Nichiren means sun lotus and Shonin means priest. Now, my lecture today is Accepting the Gohonzon, a Black Buddhist lecture. Now, in 1974, I accepted the Gohonzon from the NSA/SGI/ Nichiren Shoshu. In January of 2014, after having a Nichiren Shoshu Gohonzon for 40 years, I respectfully returned my Nichiren Shoshu Gohonzon to my former Mogyoji temple in Chicago. Today, during my morning prayers, I apologize to my Gohonzon and for all the effort and causes that I made in introducing people to the Japanese Nichiren Sects of the SGI, Nichiren Shoshu, and Nichiren Shu. These Japanese organizations actually insult the foundation that I've lived my life. I've lived a life based on freedom, justice, and equality for all human beings. And I spent 40 years introducing people to the Nichiren Buddhism as taught by these Japanese, and I had no idea that I was introducing black people or introducing other people to, on one end, as a cult, or like in the case of Nichiren Shoshu, who don't believe in black priests or priests other than Japanese. The very foundation that I base my life on, equality and justice and freedom for all, I was violating that, even with my own son, by my taking my son to the Mogyoji temple in Chicago, knowing that these priests don't even allow a black person to be a priest. This is unjust, unfair, and this tramples the foundation that I've lived and built my life. Now, again, my lecture today is called Accepting the Gohonzon, a Black Buddhist lecture. Now, during my study and research and development in the Buddhist religion, I learned that the Japanese sects misled me in their mean-spirited effort to extricate all black history, culture, and language from the Buddhist teachings. Racism, hate, and mean-spiritedness is not a part of my consciousness. I could never believe that a white person is superior to a black person, nor do I believe that it is necessary to change or rewrite history to alter facts to make one group look superior to another group. What happened in the Buddhist religion is the fact that a racist plan was created to remove all black history, culture, and language from the Buddhist teachings. They created what I call the Sanskrit Initiative. See, Sanskrit is a rewrite where racists rewrote Buddhism in the Sanskrit language, and they used this language to remove all black culture, history, and language from the Buddhist teachings. Now, let us move to modern day Japanese Buddhist sects. These Nichiren sects adopted a racist theology of extricating all of black history, culture, and language from the Buddhist teachings. Myself, who is a Nichiren Buddhist, challenged the Japanese racists by defining myself as a proud black Buddhist. We who are proud black Buddhists do not accept not only white superiority, we do not accept Asian superiority. What I learned that the Japanese in their theology were racist, I could no longer accept their Gohonzon, their religion, and their teachings. This effort brings me to my topic of today. Again, my lecture is Accepting Faith in the Gohonzon, a Black Buddhist lecture by Untitled Elmore. Today, I want you to take a look at the Gohonzon. After doing this lecture, I will go to the post office and mail this Gohonzon to Mr. Anthony Wilkes, who lives in Chicago. Now, I have no idea what Mr. Wilkes looked like or who he really is. But one thing that I know about Mr. Wilkes, he is an African American, and he is certainly interested in learning more about his black history, his culture, and the black language. And he wants to believe in equality and have a Buddhism that's inclusive of his history, culture, and language. Now, on this day, October the 25th, 2016, there are some black people who support presidential candidate Donald Trump. It is okay to such black people that Donald Trump, via the birther movement, tried to delegitimize President Obama because he's a black president. There was a movement that was started in America called the birther movement, and they used the birther movement to delegitimize President Obama. Now, there was also a movement in America started by white people called the Tea Party. Now, the Tea Party's goal was to stop President Obama or to legitimize President Obama. Now, these people took 8 years of opposing President Obama. Their plan was to elect people to go to Congress to stop President Obama. And their plan was, if Obama was for it, then you should automatically vote against it. No matter how good the program was, you should vote against it. Not because the plan was bad, but you should vote against a black person and never legitimize a black person. Now, the wife of President Obama, the wonderful Michelle Obama, had a solution that coincides with us at the Proud Black Buddhists. She says, when they go low, we go high. Now, this is the philosophy that we, the Proud Black Buddhists, adopted. Now, when the Japanese went low, we went high. Now, I want you to look at a picture. This is Mokei Shonin. Mokei Shonin is an African-American Nichiren Shu female priest who lives in Houston, Texas. In November 2013, we wrote a letter to Mokei Shonin asking the Nichiren Shu organization about their policy regarding African Americans. And Mokei Shonin had her Memphis representative, my friend Mr. Shaka Kafani, to write us back with a response that we were no longer welcome to come to Nichiren Shu Buddhist meetings. Now, when they went low, we went high in that. And just after that, we started, that's in January of 2014, we started the Proud Black Buddhist World Association. Now, one of the things I want to show you is that this is our beautiful Nichiren prayer book by the Proud Black Buddhist World Association. We have a beautiful color 48-page prayer book that includes our black culture, our black history, and our language. They had a little small prayer book, and we made a bigger and a better prayer book because When they went low, we went high. Now, when I learned that the Japanese purposefully extricate all black history from Buddhism, I went on a mission to teach Buddhism and to give people, and especially black people, a voice in Buddhism. Do you realize that in all of this world, there is not, other than us, there are very few black Buddhist voice, I mean an independent Buddhist voice, that is not associated with any Asians. I mean a organization that originated as African Americans and for the purpose of teaching and advancing the cause of justice, freedom, and equality. We are the first to do this. Now, when you Google the word Black Buddhist, we come up number one on Google. While the Japanese have the Buddhist sects, when it comes to Google, we're putting information out via multimedia, and we're number one in the world. In regards to the Gohonzon, we produce the absolute best Gohonzon in the world. I want you to look at something and what's going on here. Now, what you have here, this is my packaging, and this Gohonzon is about to go out. Now, I'm sending this beautiful Gohonzon out, and I want you to take a look at it. The Gohonzon is, now, what we did was, instead of getting the traditional scroll Gohonzon, we have a beautiful Gohonzon mounted. This is mounted on a picture frame, and this is a beautiful Gohonzon. So when they went low on us, we went high by creating an even beautiful and better Gohonzon. Now, my lecture again is accepting faith and the Gohonzon. Now, what I want you to turn to, if you have one, there's a Gosho called Upholding Faith in the Gohonzon, and it reads, quote, I am entrusting you with the Gohonzon for the protection of your young child. This Gohonzon is the essence of the Lotus Sutra and the eye of all the scriptures. It is like the sun and moon in the heavens, a great ruler on earth, the heart of a human being, the wish-granting jewel among treasures, and the pillar of the house. When we have this mandala with us, it is a rule that all the gods, Buddhas and gods will gather around and watch over us, protecting us like a shadow day and night. Just as warriors guard their rulers, as parents love their children, as fish rely on water, as trees and grasses crave rain, and as birds depend on trees, you must trust in it with all your heart. Unquote. This Gohonzon is the most beautiful object of worship, and this Gohonzon comes from Shakyamuni Buddha. Now, please understand that the Japanese Buddhist sects, the SGI, Nichiren Shoshu, Nichiren Shu, and others, practice deception in that they teach that their respective Gohonzon is the only legitimate Gohonzon. This philosophy is a matter of Japanese cultural imperialism. These Japanese attempt to make themselves superior by creating an aura that they are the only legitimate inheritors of Buddhism. please understand a Japanese cultural tactic. The way that they are able to apprehend Buddhist teachings is to remove black history and give it a Japanese history. What the Japanese sects, Nichiren Shoshu and the SDI did was to make Nichiren the true Buddha. The plan was to remove the black history and the black man and make the Japanese man superior. When Nichiren became, quote, Buddha Nichiren, this puts Japanese in charge. See, in order to carry out their plans of manipulation, the Japanese had to remove all black history and culture from Buddhism. Let us look at the Gosho, whereas Nichiren Shonin makes clear that the Gohonzon, Shannon, and all of his teachings comes not from him, but from Shakyamuni Buddha. The Japanese sects are thieves. Nichiren writes in the Gosho, the real aspect of the Gohonzon, that the Gohonzon was revealed in the last 8 years of the Buddha's life. How could Nichiren be the inventor of the Gohonzon when it came about in the last 8 years of the Buddha's life? Again, in the Gosho, the real aspect of the Gohonzon reads, quote, to begin with, this Gohonzon was revealed in the last 8 years of the 50 that the Buddha preached in this world, and in this period of 8 years, in 8 chapters of the Lotus Sutra, from the emerging from the earth chapter through the entrustment chapter, now during the 3 periods following the Buddha's passing, and the 2,000 years in the former middle days of the law, not even the term object of devotion of the central teachings yet existed. Now, Nichiren explains that no one was able to give the Gohonzon expression. He writes, quote, moreover, there was no one who was able to give it expression. Tenta, Milo, Dingyo perceived it in their hearts, but for some reason never put it into words. Just as Yin Yuan realized the true meaning of Confucius' teachings, but never gave it expression. Yet the sutra itself and the commentaries of Tenta and Milo explicitly state that the Gohonzon would appear 2,000 years have elapsed following the Buddha's passing in the first 500 years of the latter day of the law. Unquote. You see, Nichiren explains further that the Gohonzon, now listen very carefully, Nichiren explains that the Gohonzon is a banner of propagation of the Lotus Sutra. Please understand that the Gohonzon is all about the Lotus Sutra as the object of worship. The Gosho further reads, quote, how wondrous is it that around 200 years and more into the latter day of the law, I was the first to reveal as the banner of propagation of the Lotus Sutra this great mandala that even those such as Nagarjuna and Vansubadhu, Tenta, Mala were unable to express. This mandala is in no way my invention. It is the object of devotion that depicts Shakyamuni Buddha, the world-honored one seated in the treasure tower of many treasures, and the Buddhas who were Shakyamuni's emanations as perfectly as a print matches its woodblock. Unquote. See, Nichiren Shonin is very, very, very clear that the Gohonzon is in no way his invention. You have Nichiren Shoshu teaching about a Dai Gohonzon or a great Gohonzon as if Nichiren created it. When Nichiren never takes credit for the Gohonzon, it is clear that it is not his invention. The next statement is the most important to remember. Nichiren Shoshu and the Japanese sects try to trick you into looking outside yourself or have you to looking at sanctioning bodies. Nichiren is clear. Now, this is in the Gosho, the true aspect of the Gohonzon. And it reads, quote, never seek this Gohonzon outside yourself. This Gohonzon exists only within the mortal flesh of us ordinary people who embrace the Lotus Sutra and chant Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. The body is the palace of the ninth consciousness, the unchanging reality that reigns over all life's functions. To be endowed with the 10 worlds means that all 10, without exception, exist in one world. Because of this, it is called a mandala. A mandala is a Sanskrit word that is translated as, quote, perfectly endowed, or a cluster of lessons. This Gohonzon is found only in the two characters of faith. This is what the sutra means when it states that one can, quote, gain interest through faith alone. Now, the most important thing that I can teach you as a Buddhist teacher is that Buddhism is not about blind faith. When you close your eyes is when you can get cheated. It is racist people who are waiting on you to close your eyes. Nichiren is very, very, very clear about this. Now, in the Gosho, it further states that the first volume on the Great Concentration and Insight says, to believe in the perfect teachings means to awaken faith through doctrine and make faith the basis of practice. Do not just take faith in Buddhism because someone tells you to take faith. Please study very, very, very hard. When you learn the profound Buddhist teachings, you will gain faith, or your faith will awaken by understanding the doctrine. The Buddha, or Nichiren rather, teaches us to awaken faith through doctrine. Now, in the Gosho, opening the eyes of images. Now understand that we are sending this Gohonzon out to you, Anthony, in Chicago. Now, it's important that you open the eye of the image. Now, in the Gosho, opening the eyes of the image, read, quote, because the Lotus Sutra manifests the Buddha's spiritual aspect, when one embodies that spiritual aspect in a wooden or painted image possessing 31 features, the image in its entirety becomes the living Buddha. This is what is meant by the enlightenment of plants. Now, unquote. See, what you must understand, that this Gohonzon we're sending is just a piece of wood or a block. It is not a living entity. However, because of the power of the Lotus Sutra, it is not the power of some Japanese Nichiren sect. It is not the power outside yourself. It is the power of the Lotus Sutra that breathes life into the object of worship, and the object of worship becomes a living Buddha, and that living Buddha becomes your teacher. I think we said enough. Let us bring this lecture to a close. Again, what I would like to do, I would like to quote again. And the Gosho is called Accepting Faith in the Gohonzon. Now, the Gosho is called Upholding Faith in the Gohonzon, and our lecture is called Accepting Faith in the Gohonzon. Now, in the Gosho, again, Upholding Faith in the Gohonzon, it reads, quote, I am entrusting you with the Gohonzon for the protection of your young child. This Gohonzon is the essence of the Lotus Sutra and the eye of all the scriptures. It is like the sun and moon in the heavens, a great ruler on earth, the heart in a human being, the wish-granted jewel among treasures, and the pillar of a house. When we have this Mandela with us, it is a rule that all the Buddhas and gods will gather around and watch over us, protecting us like a shadow day and night. Just as warriors guard their ruler, as parents love their children, as fish rely on water, as trees and grasses crave rain, and as birds depend on trees. You must trust in it with all your heart. For those of you who decide to join the Proud Black Buddhist World Association, and you take up the religion of Nichiren Shonin, the true Buddhism of Shakyamuni Buddha for the latter day of the law, you can change your life and become the best that you can be, and become the most happiest and glorious person. I am Anthony M. Elmore, President and founder of the Proud Black Buddhist World Association, giving you a lecture today on accepting the Gohonzon. Thank you very much. I get down on my knees and I pray every day. I pray the Lord will suit your way. I pray every day to do my best to practice peace and love and respect.